All right. Happy New Year. Nice to see those names on the screen. Thanks for joining me. This is Rachel, for anyone who's popped in that I wasn't aware was here, local physical therapist and Pilates instructor. What we have today is a 45-minute flow style Pilates Matwork class. We're going to work head to toe, a little bit of balance, a lot of shoulders, a lot of core, a lot of hips, a lot of work on those little small muscles in your feet. As always, work through at a pace that is working for your body. Every day is a new adventure, as we all know. So if something felt great yesterday but doesn't feel so great today, no need to force through. I want you to feel stretching. I want you to feel some muscular effort. You might break a little bit of a sweat, but nothing should be painful. You want to have an exercise mat. Socks or bare feet usually work best. And if you would like to have a small towel roll or some extra padding for your knees when we are on hands and knees after the very, very beginning of the class, go ahead and grab that now. But I'm going to go ahead and get us started. I will set a timer and place it right in front of me just to keep me honest and on track and everybody honest and on track. And then we'll get ourselves moving. So that timer is right at the side. We're going to stand up nice and tall on our mats. Let's start with our feet a little bit wider apart than our shoulders. Let's point those toes out toward the bottom top corner or bottom front corners of your room. And then we're going to settle our weight back toward our heels. Soften up your knees. And as you do so, you'll feel your legs absorb some shock. We're going to picture a plumb line dropping down from the tailbone toward the heels, and a picture of a string at the crown of the head drawing us all the way up to the ceiling. So we have some nice length from head to tail. Let's draw the belly and spine gently toward each other. If you poke your fingertips into the front muscles in your trunk, we're going to feel some activity there, a little firmness kicking in from the hands. Arms are coming down by the sides. Let's take a big breath in, reach those arms up and overhead. We'll exhale them out to the sides and down by the thighs. One more time, big breath in, arms come up overhead. Let's exhale, bringing those arms out on a Y. Fingertips are reaching out toward the top corners of the room, keeping that core engaged, belly and spine drawn toward each other. We're going to inch our feet a little further away from each other, making kind of an X with our arms and legs. We're going to keep our core active as we tilt that body side to side. Take some nice tall side bends, reaching the crown of the head up to each side of the room as we bend. As we hit those end ranges, we're going to feel the trunk working, particularly on the side we're moving away from, to keep that trunk nice and supported. Let's pause in one side bend. Keep that core engaged. Really reach those fingertips up toward the ceiling. We're going to drop the arm on the side we're reaching toward, first toward the pinky side toe of that same leg. And then we're going to add a little stretch by reaching it toward the opposite heel. Reach your fingers away from each other. Get that nice oppositional stretch along the side. Big breath in, arms back up to the Y. Reset that core. And we'll exhale into our opposite side bend. Hold it there, drop that hand down toward the pinky, and then let's add a little more by reaching toward our opposite heel. Inhale up tall, arms to the Y. We'll exhale them out till they're shoulder height. We're making a T with those arms. We're going to move those feet in, hip width apart now. Let's roll those arms back in circles. Stretch your middle fingers out toward the wall on either side of you. Draw some circles with it on those walls. Circle for 4. Feel those shoulders working a bit. 3, 2, and 1. Let's reverse them and take them forward. Reach the collarbones away from the center of the body as we roll. Those deltoid muscles are getting a little tired here. Circle for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Reach those fingertips away from each other, and we'll exhale them down by our sides. Shrug those shoulders up to the ears. We'll let them drop all the way down toward the feet. Let's now take our fingertips right to the middle of the body. Heels of the hands are going to come to the hip bones. Index finger and middle finger are going to make a little diamond right between where the belly button and the pubic bone sit. Pressing the fingertips into the midsection, we'll be able to feel our core start to work as we shift our weight forward and back toward the toes and toward the heels. Pay attention to what you feel under those fingertips. You should feel a little bit of tightening, a little bit of movement under those fingers as we hit each of those end ranges of our base. Taking the weight right back over the front of the ankles. We're going to shift our weight side to side. It may be a little more apparent what your trunk is doing as we work in that side to side direction. Your thumbs will feel those oblique muscles kicking in. We're going to keep that side to side weight shift going, but let's move our fingertips to the front of the waistline, thumbs to the back of the waistline. Keeping the belly and spine pulled in toward each other, we're going to press those fingertips nice and firmly into our trunk. Feel those muscles activate as we load and unload each side. Let's roll through some circles. Firmly establish that base of support you have. Toes, heels, outsides and insides of the foot are staying nice and pressed into the floor. Pause and let's circle the other way. We're picturing that string at the crown of the head reaching us all the way up to the ceiling. Those feet are getting some input as far as where your body is in relation to the floor. Let's shift the weight right over those big toes. And we're gonna unweight our heels. Just hover them slightly off the floor. Millimeters, okay. Feel those core muscles. If you press your fingertips and thumbs into the front of the body, we're gonna feel some tension through those muscles, even if you don't do anything else aside from just being right there in that position. Keeping the weight forward toward the toes, let's lower our heels. We'll shift our weight back over the front of the ankles. Arms come down, shake out those knees a touch, and we're gonna prepare to make our way down to our mat. Grab your towel roll if you'd like to use it. You can place it right to the middle of the mat. We're gonna take that quarter turn, so we're lengthwise along that mat, and let's back up toward the back edge. Give yourself a few, that's 6 inches leeway behind you. We're gonna soften up our knees, get those feet shoulder width apart. Hands are gonna come right to where your femurs fold into the pelvis, right to the front of the hips. Keeping that core slightly engaged, we're gonna tip that body forward. Trunk stays still. We have the same curves in the neck and low back that we did when we were upright. We're gonna hinge forward till we pause at the point where we first start feeling a stretch or some resistance behind the thighs. Hold it there. Maybe we shift our weight back a little, bend those knees a little bit. We're gonna take our hands right to the outsides of the hips and squeeze those shoulder blades together. Pressing the hands into the hips, let's take that weight side to side. Feel those muscles press into your hands as your glutes activate to keep that lower body nice and stable as we move our weight from foot to foot. Good, let's shift right back, equal weight over both feet. We're gonna stretch our hands down toward the mat, vertical alignment with those arms. Squeeze your shoulder blades, row those elbows, tucking them in by the sides. And we're gonna reach those hands toward the mat. Squeeze and row, reach toward the floor. Squeeze and row, reach toward the floor. Repeat for 5 and row. Squeeze for 3, release. Here's 2, release. And 1, we're gonna keep those elbows tucked by the sides. Let's press those elbows straight and then bend them up. Warm those triceps up. Press, let them go. Press, let them go. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Big breath in, squeeze those blades. As we exhale, our hands come down perpendicular to the mat. We're gonna make our way down to the floor. Let's take our hands to the floor, bending the knees as much as we need to do to get there. We'll walk our hands forward. And finally, let's come to rest on those knees. Wrists and shoulders, knees and hips are lined up with each other. If you do want to get that padding under your knees, place it right at the bottom of the kneecap, just above that tibia where your shin starts. Holding here, try to keep those toes turned under. See if you can press them into the floor. If that's not great on your foot, absolutely go ahead and turn the tops of the feet to the mat. Otherwise, we press into the mat. We're going to curl that belly button up toward the ceiling and look toward those thighs, curling to couch. We'll lengthen, reverse, take that tailbone to the ceiling. Breastbone comes forward to the wall in front for cow. Curl and reverse. One more time, curl and reverse. Take that trunk, head and neck nice and neutral again, and we'll wag our tail side to side. Take a hip toward a shoulder, the opposite hip toward the other shoulder. Feel those stomach muscles, those side muscles working to engage as we shorten to bring the hips side to side. Coming right back to the middle, we re-engage that belly toward the spine if we need a little more action there. Turn the tops of the feet down toward the floor. Let's take our feet together, our knees apart, and press that bottom back to the heels. Try to keep your hands right where they are. Let's rock back toward the heels and then pull ourselves right back up to a vertical arm position. Press and rock back. Press back up to vertical. If this range gives you a stretch already, we're just going to stay here. If you want to take it further, walk those hands a little farther forward toward the front of your mat and repeat. Stretch that bottom back to the heels, lengthening back toward a child's pose type position. Inhale up, exhale, rock that bottom back. Inhale up, last one here. Exhale, rock that bottom back. We're going to keep our elbows straight as long as we can. Maybe we can even slide our hands a little farther forward on that mat. Drop that forehead toward the floor. Take a big breath in. As we breathe out, we're going to think about wrapping our shoulder blades around the front of the body. That's going to let us lengthen out, get a nice stretch along the side of the chest wall, the side of that armpit, maybe even the upper part of that underarm. Hold here for a breath. Breathing out, bend those elbows, drop those forearms to the floor. We're going to shift the weight over them. We're going to take the legs back behind the body and come to rest on the upper thighs. That navel's drawn back toward the spine, and we're going to press our shoulder blades firmly toward the floor. They're widening away across the back. Keep the belly engaged, and let's squeeze and press through those shoulder blades. Warm those muscles up with a little mini shoulder blade push-up. Squeeze together, press them forward, squeeze and press. Repeat for 4, for 3, last 2, last 1. Press those blades to the floor, take a big breath. As we exhale, we're gonna shift away from our screen, tuck that forearm underneath the body, and let's turn onto our backs, coming to rest with knees bent and heels lined up with our sit bones. Heels are gonna be about 4 to 6 inches away from our rear ends. Knees are 2 or 3 inches away from each other, and let's press our hands flat into the floor. As we nod the chin toward the neck, I want you to pay attention for yourself to what's touching the mat and what might not happen to be touching the mat at this present time. We'll probably have a little space under the neck. We'll probably have a little space under the low back. Can you press your shoulder blades down into the floor without changing those curves in the low back of the neck? See how close you can get them to the mat. If they don't go all the way, that's okay. We're all a work in progress here. Let's think now about taking our collarbones and spreading them out away from the center of the body. Hold in there. That's going to let you draw those shoulders a little closer to the floor. Nod the chin just a little closer to the neck, and then the back of the neck lengthen down to the mat. We'll take a big breath here. All those landmarks stay nice and still. And as we exhale, gently draw your belly down toward your spine. Feel the muscles between the belly button and that pubic bone tighten just a touch. Keeping the rest of the body nice and still, we're going to picture a clock face on our pelvis. 12 line the breastbone, 6 toward that pubic bone, 3 and 9 on either side. We're going to rock the pelvis toward 12 o'clock, flatten that low back curve, lengthen the pubic bone down toward the heels, 6 o'clock. Curl to 12, reverse to 6. Can you keep your chin nice and still as you curl? If not, back off on your range about 25%. I want you to see if you can feel those lower abdominals working and feel that upper back staying nice and still. We're going to come right back to a neutral position, keep that core engaged, and let's rock that pelvis side to side between 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock positions. As you move that pelvis, we're going to feel the feet press unevenly into the floor. As one hip lifts, that same side foot is going to be pressing a little more firmly than the other side in order to let us keep those thighs nice and still. 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. Let's take that pelvis right back to neutral. We'll take a big breath in, re-engage, dropping the belly a little closer to the spine. We're going to draw one knee up to 90 degrees, tabletop. And if we can maintain a nice stable trunk, spine, and shoulder position, we can bring the other knee up to meet it. 90 degrees at the hips, 90 degrees at those knees, as if we were balancing 2 vases of water on our shins and we didn't want anything to move. Let's hold, big breath in. As we exhale, we're going to raise our arms up to the ceiling. Reach those fingertips up and drop those shoulder blades firmly to the mat. As we engage the core a little further by scooping the belly down toward the spine, we're going to hold that position, hold those abdominals active, and let's open those arms back to the wall behind us. How far back can we reach until we feel like the stretch here is really stopping us from going any further? Let's hold for a breath in that position. Feel the mid back right between those shoulder blades pressing firmly into the mat. If you're not able to access that, let's bring those hands a little closer to the ceiling. We're going to hold here for another breath. As we exhale, the arms come to the ceiling. We're going to inhale them down in front of us till they hover 4 or 5 inches up off the mat. Stretch those fingertips toward the wall in front, keeping the belly engaged. And let's slowly extend our knees. Straighten them out, bringing the feet toward the ceiling. Pausing when you feel like you can't straighten them any further without losing that neutral pelvis, neutral spine position. Maybe we can keep that belly engaged and extend our legs forward toward the wall in front of us. We want to go to the point where we feel like we can still have control and keep that belly button drawn down toward the spine. Maybe we can bend the knees to add a little more assistance, take a little leverage off that trunk. More challenge, we could take those legs a little closer to where the floor and the wall meets. Let's pat our hands up and down like we're bouncing little basketballs. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, exhale. Can we pat those arms out nice and strongly while maintaining a nice, still, stable trunk? Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, exhale. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, exhale. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, breathe it out. Flip those palms over, press the air to the ceiling. Continue, inhale for 5 and exhale for 5, moving at a pace that's working for you. Again, if we need to take a little pressure off, those knees can come back to our 90-90 tabletop. We could even place one foot on the floor for a little kickstand. We could draw that other knee a little closer to the chest as well to encourage that nice still spine. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, pause. Flip the palms to the floor. We're gonna pull the knee farthest from the screen all the way into the chest and hang onto it with your hands. Let's reset those shoulders down by the hips, draw the belly a little closer to the spine, and take that nice outstretched leg, lengthen it with control all the way to the mat. Hold it there. Thigh is nice and active, leg is as straight as you can get it. And let's pull that bent knee across the body. Wiggle it toward the screen, letting that hip come up off the mat on the other side. That other hand is resting on the mat for a little counterbalance here. Take a couple breaths here, ease into position, and then we'll pull that knee right back to the chest. Trunk is nice and neutral. Keeping the core engaged, belly stays to the spine, hover that straight leg up off the mat. We're gonna take it side to side and up and down. Draw a small L or half of a square on the wall in front of you. Try to keep that pelvis nice and still. Your hip bones should be pointing right up to the ceiling, and that belly button shouldn't move. Side to side, up and down. We're gonna maintain that hover on that straight leg. Drop that breastbone down a little further if you can, and let's make some circles on the wall in front. Here's 3, here's 2, here's 1. Pause, breathe it in. As we breathe out, we'll take it the other way. Circle for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Pause in the hover, stretch those toes as close to the wall in front as you can. Big breath in. Exhaling, switch them up. Pull that other knee into the chest. Lengthen that opposite leg out to the wall. Keeping that quad nice and active, we'll lower our heel to the mat. And we'll keep that leg straight as we draw our bent knee across the body. Again, letting this hip wiggle up off the floor a touch. Get a little bit of tension out of that low back, out of that hip. Let's take a big breath in and exhale. As we come back to neutral, we pull that knee into the chest a little closer. Reset the belly to the spine. Keep that quad engaged as we hover that leg up off the floor again. We'll make that partial square or that L shape on the wall in front of us now. Let's exhale the leg to the side, inhale to the center. Exhale, lift a straight leg raise, inhale down toward the mat. Side to side at your own pace. Biggest goal here is to keep that pelvis nice and still, squared off to the ceiling. Try to keep that knee as straight as you can. We'll feel our quad working as well. Good, one more time. Exhale to the side, inhale to the center. Exhale, lift, inhale and lower to hover. Keep that belly engaged, reset that chin down toward the neck. Let's speed up our motions here. We're gonna pull the knee into the chest, press the opposite leg forward to hover. Inhale, pull to center, exhale and press. Inhale, center, exhale, press. The faster we go, the greater challenge we have to keeping that core nice and still. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's pull both knees into the chest. Rock that body side to side. Take a big breath in and a big breath out. Let's come right back to the middle. We're gonna take that leg farthest from the screen, slide it out along the mat. Lengthen that leg, dropping the back of the knee to the floor. Hang on behind that thigh, and we're gonna extend our knee, bringing that foot toward the ceiling. Flex and point those toes. Feel how that changes the stretch through the back of the leg. Pointing the toes to the ceiling, we'll take that ankle and wiggle it side to side just a touch. We might feel a little bit of pulling or length through the side of that shin. If you need to back off, feel free to bend your knee a touch. We're gonna keep those toes pointed to the ceiling, draw that core in again, belly to spine, hover your supporting leg up off the floor. Let's control that heel to the mat. Lift and hover, belly stays engaged. We're gonna lift and hover and lower at your own pace. I want you to picture the role that your abdominals can play in lifting that leg. Mostly the hip does the work. There's a little bit of stability necessary though for you to lift that foot up off the floor without pulling into your low back. Good, lower that foot to the mat. We're gonna shoot our arms to the ceiling. If you need a little more slack in the system, bend that lifted leg. We're gonna take it side to side, draw a horizontal line on the ceiling. Hip bones are pointed like headlights, right up, straight ahead of you. Nice vertical angle. Maybe we take that leg a little further out to the side. Can we engage that inner thigh without letting the pelvis go long for the ride? Reach those legs to the ceiling and let's make some circles. Stir that hip in its socket. Pause at the top, take a breath. As we exhale, we'll take it the other way. Circle for 4. For 3, what if we try a little bit bigger circle? 2. Last one, pause at the top. Keep those toes stretching to the ceiling. We'll hang on behind that thigh. Let's draw that knee into the chest. Give it a little stir side to side. Pull that knee in and let's switch it up. We'll draw the belly in, draw that knee into the chest, slide out that leg we just worked out, and tighten up that thigh, pressing the back of the knee toward the floor. Hanging on behind that newly lifted leg. We're going to straighten that thigh, pointing our toes up to the ceiling, and let's flex and point. Work through the entire back of the leg. We're getting those nerves stretching and moving through their connective tissue happily. Point those toes and let's wiggle that ankle in and out, side to side. Maybe even pulling a little bit into that shin, bending the knee if we need more slack. Point those toes to the ceiling, hold in there. Belly stays engaged. Roll the shoulders back and down, and let's hover that supporting leg up off the mat and then control down to the floor. Lift and hover, control it down. Again, visualizing the role that those core muscles can play in helping you have a successful lift of that leg. Let's lower our hovered leg to the mat, shoot those arms straight to the ceiling and drop the blades and that belly a little closer to the floor. Keep the pelvis facing the ceiling as we take our legs side to side, drawing that horizontal line on the ceiling. Good, one more time here. Maybe we take it out a little further, find that inner thigh stretch. Let's sweep through some circles, reach those toes up to the ceiling, reach those fingertips up as well. Stir that hip in its socket, pause at the top, take a breath. As we breathe out, we'll take it the other way. Circle for 4, for 3, 2, and 1. Hang on behind that thigh. Keep that knee right where it is and roll those shoulders back and down. Re-engage that core, hover that supporting leg up off the floor. Inhale that leg to the ceiling. Exhale, switch the grip, opposite leg comes down to hover. Inhale, lift, exhale, and switch. Inhale, lift the legs to meet. Exhale and switch. Inhale, lift, and exhale, switch. Let's repeat for 4 and 3. Good job, keep it going. And 1. Let's draw those knees in, give them a hug, and rock that body side to side. Pull in right back to the middle. We'll flex and point those feet, roll those shoulders back and down. Let's take our hands down by our sides. Ease those legs back up to that 90-90 tabletop position. Balance that base of water on your shins. And we're going to drop the belly down toward the floor. Let's stretch those arms straight to the ceiling, breathing in. We're going to exhale to a long diagonal. Take that arm closest to the screen back. Stretch the opposite leg to the wall in front. Let's switch through to the other side, keeping that core active. Try as best you can to keep that low back nice and still. If you do need to take some time to monitor, keep those legs moving. You're welcome to take your fingertips, the backs of your fingertips down toward that low back curve. Ensure that everything's staying as still as you can keep it. Switch them off. Good. Last 2. 1, let's pull those knees into the chest, rock them side to side. Coming right back to the middle, we'll roll the shoulders back and down. Let's guide those legs back to 90-90 for one final exercise here before we move on to bridges. Arms are going to shoot straight to the ceiling. Let's flex our feet. We're going to open those arms back overhead just as we did in the beginning of class when we first got onto our backs. Inhale the arms to the ceiling. Now we're going to exhale both heels to the floor. Inhale and lift them. Exhale, arms back. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, heels forward. Inhale, heels up. Let's do them at the same time. Heels come down in front as the arms stretch back. Inhale to tabletop. Exhale, open. Inhale to tabletop. Repeat for 4. Take it back up. Exhale for 3. Bring them up. Last 2. Take them up. Last 1. Let's leave those heels on the floor as we stretch those arms back overhead far as we can. Turn your thumbs toward the floor, palms toward each other. How close to the floor can we get those thumbs? Maybe they touch. Leave them there. If they touch, we're going to take a big breath in. As we breathe out, nod the chin toward the neck and take another breath. This time as we exhale, we're going to draw our mid back down to the mat. Big breath in. Exhale, drop those lowest ribs and that breastbone down toward the floor and draw the belly toward the spine. We're going to place our toes on the mat, inch the heels a little closer to our bottoms. And let's inhale, arcing the arms to the ceiling and exhale them down in front of us. Big breath in. Breathing out, let's draw the belly to the spine. Press the heels into the floor. We're gonna lift those glutes up to bridge. Squeeze those cheeks together. As we pause at the top, we're gonna stretch our knees toward the wall in front of us. And let's exhale, lowering them to the mat. Let's take them up and down through a pace that works for you, through a range that works for you. I want you to do your best to keep that low back curve the same. No matter what orientation, we have that back to the floor. We're stretching our kneecaps toward the wall in front of us. Let's hold that bridge at the top. Press the hands into the mat. We're going to go up and down on our toes. Lift and lower the heels for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Press the heels down. Pulse those hips to the ceiling for 8, 7, 6, 5. We should be feeling this in the glutes. That low back should be fairly neutral and non-issue for this one here. Press those hands into the floor, breathing in. As we exhale, we're going to lower that body with control to the mat, releasing the hips when we touch the bottom of the mat. Let those glutes go. Rock the knees side to side. Take a big breath in and a big breath out. Let's take those knees back up to the ceiling. Reset. Inhale. Exhale, belly to spine. Press back up into bridge. We're going to open and close both knees. Take them out to the sides and back to the center. Exhale and open. Inhale, center. Try to keep those hips level. Even as the knees come out to the side, those hips don't drop. They don't need to rise. Knees come to the center. Let's take one at a time. Out and in. Out and in. Out and in. Out and in. Last 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take them back to the center, breathing in. Exhale, lower down with control. Release at the bottom. Rock those knees side to side. Good. Inhale back to the center. Exhale, regroup. Take that belly to the spine. We have one more set of bridges here. We're going to move through marches. Press those bottoms, the heels into the floor. We're going to press up to bridge. Press the hands into the mat. Lift your heel closest to the screen and then rise to tabletop with that leg. Float it back down and switch. Lift the heel, press it up to tabletop. Float it back down. Try to float through, keeping those hips stable. If this full march is not working for you, feel free to just simply stick with that heel lift. We're still transferring our weight side to side. We'll work up to that march. Switch for 4. Switch for 3, 2, and 1. Press those feet into the mat. Take a big breath. Exhaling, we'll lower down with control to the floor. Release the glutes at the bottom. Let's rock between those 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock pelvic positions. Breathe at a pace that's working for you. That allows you to dampen down that system a little. Coming back to the middle, we're going to cross that leg closest to the screen over to the opposite knee and lift to figure 4. Rock away from that screen, give it a little oscillation. Take it back to the middle. Foot comes back down, switch it up, opposite ankle to knee. Lift to figure 4 and rock. Feel the outer hip open up. Take a big breath. We'll unwind as we exhale. Feet come to the floor. Let's inhale those arms all the way back overhead. Exhale them up to the ceiling and down to the floor in front of us. Grab that small towel roll or any other extra padding you need, and we're going to make our way over to hands and knees. Let's get ourselves set up on all 4s. Again, that padding goes right below the kneecap, right above the shin. If you choose to use an extra, you could always double your mat over as well. Let's take ourselves into a position where the wrists and shoulders and the knees and hips are lined up with each other. We're going to roll through a few cats and cows. Move at a pace that works for you. Just reorient, get that core ready to fire for us in a different position. Good. Take that body back to neutral. Wag your tail side to side. Coming back to neutral, we'll keep the core engaged and let's squeeze our shoulder blades back behind the body and then press them toward the floor. Squeeze them together, press them forward. Squeeze and press, squeeze and press. Keep that going. Here's 4. Here's 3. Here's 2. Here's 1. We have one more set of those. If we want to do them the same way we just did on all 4s, that's great. If we want to challenge it further, we can come up to a plank on the knees. Hips are opening up, so we have a diagonal angle from the shoulders to the hips to the knees, or we could come up all the way to a high plank with a little diagonal from the shoulders to those glutes to the feet. Squeeze those shoulder blades together, press them toward the floor, whether those knees are down, whether you're in high plank, or whether those knees are right below the shin, right below the hips rather. Squeeze and press for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Press those blades forward. We're going to take our knees right back down underneath the hips if they've been elsewhere. Rock those hands a little closer to the knees, and we're going to draw that belly in toward the spine. As we take a big breath in here, we're going to open the arm closest to the screen all the way out to the side. Follow it up with your head. Exhale, place it on the mat, switch it up, opposite side. Inhale, open. Exhale, hand down. Inhale, open. Exhale, hand down. One more time on the other side. Inhale, open. Exhale, hand down. Let's stretch that leg closest to the screen back behind the body, and we're going to take it out to the side. See if you can get that leg as close to lined up with the trunk as you can. Your big toe will be lined up with the knee of the opposite foot. You could take it a little further back, a little further forward, whatever's working best for you. The goal here is going to be to get a little bit of an inner thigh stretch here. We're going to press our hands into the floor. Can we rock the bottom back toward the heel and then take it back upright? Rock it back toward the heel. This is a new one for us. Take it back upright. One more time, rock it back. Take it upright. We're going to take that arm closest to the screen, out toward that screen. Big breath in. Thread the needle. As we exhale, reach that arm through to the opposite wall. Follow it with your head. If this is not feeling very good to you, we go right back to that normal hands and knees position. One more time here. Thread the needle. Arm comes out. Exhale, stretch it through to the other side. We're going to take that hand right back by the other one. Arc that leg back. Bend the knee, bringing it in line with the other leg. And let's slide that opposite leg out with an exhale. Press those blades to the floor. We're going to arc that opposite leg out to the side till it lines up with the body. Try to keep your glutes relaxed. That's going to keep you from cramping in your hip. We find a position with that straight leg where we can feel our inner thigh opening up. We're going to hold there. Breathing in. Exhale, bottom to heel. Inhale up. Exhale, bottom to heel. Inhale up. Twice more. Bottom to heel. Inhale up. Bottom to heel. Inhale up. Let's take that arm on the straight leg side out to the side, follow it up, and then thread the needle, reach toward that screen. Again, inhale, arm comes up and out. Exhale, thread it through. Let's do one more here. Arm comes up and out. Exhale, thread it through. Excellent. Let's take that hand right back in line with the other one. We'll arc that leg back behind the body. Squeeze that cheek, lift the leg up, and we'll take our opposite arm up in front of us for a bird dog lift. Let's float that arm and leg down, switch it up to the other side. Alternate through here at a pace that's working for you. Picture something balanced in the small of your back. We want to keep that object nice and still, even as we switch limbs. We're going to pause with the near leg, the leg closest to the screen back, and the opposite arm forward. Can we switch our arms? Shift the weight. Lift that opposite hand. Switch it up. Switch it up. That leg stays still as we can keep it. Switch it up again. Big breath in that opposite reach. Let's bring our hand down and our knee in. Switch to the other side. Opposite leg back. Stretch the opposite arm forward. Find your balance point. Switch the arms. Lift for 4. Switch for 3. Final 2. And 1. Good work. Leave that arm there. Big breath. Exhale, hand down. Exhale, knee down. Curl to cat. Reverse to cow. Good. One more time. Curl and reverse. Take it back to neutral. Our feet come together, knees come apart. Take that bottom back, and we're going to slide those arms forward toward the front of our mat. Drop the forehead down and think about wrapping the shoulders around the front of the body, just like we did in our warm-up. As we breathe out next, we're going to walk our hands toward the screen, opening up the opposite side of the chest and trunk. Inhale through center, exhale, reach the opposite wall. Breathing in, let's walk those hands forward. Shift the weight toward the forearms, bending them up. Shift the weight over those forearms. And again, we're going to rest on those upper thighs, just like we did at the beginning of class. Press those blades forward, bend and straighten one knee, bend and straighten the other. Move them at a pace that works for you. I want you to think about keeping that low back curve nice and still. Good. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Everything comes down again. We're going to briefly come down enough that we can get our hands to the floor. Let's pop ourselves back to hands and knees. We're going to keep that core engaged. Get your extra padding if you need it, and let's float ourselves up to a tall kneeling position. Once we're upright, we want to try to be as vertically oriented as we can. That string at the crown of the head pulling you up. We're going to take our hands to the front of the thighs. Keep that core engaged. Lean back into those quads. Feel those thighs working. Inhale up tall. Exhale, lean it back. Inhale up tall. Exhale, lean back. Inhale up tall. Exhale, lean back and hold. We're going to take our arms forward for a bit of counterbalance. Let's open that arm closest to the screen out to the side. Float it back to the center. Open the opposite arm. Float it to the center. Take it out to the side. Inhale and center. Exhale and open. Inhale and center. Arms come down. Shake those legs out a bit. We're going to make that quarter turn to face our screen in tall kneeling. Readjust your padding as you see fit. Hands come right to the hips. And we're going to take one leg out to the side, just like we did when we were on hands and knees earlier. This time we're going to square those hips off to the floor. We should get a little stretch through those thighs. Keeping the belly engaged, we'll float our arms out to the sides. Take a big breath. As we exhale, let's side bend toward our bent knee, allowing the hand and foot to stretch away from each other. Inhale up and exhale, side bend. Inhale up, exhale, side bend. Inhale up, exhale, reverse it. Last one, inhale up, exhale, side bend. We're going to hold here and pulse that leg up and down. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come up nice and tall. Breathing out, we'll stretch into that side bend over to the other leg. Let's come up tall. Hands come right back to the hips. Switch them up. Drop into that squared off hip position. Feel that inner thigh open up, and we'll float the arms out. Breathe it in. Exhaling, we'll side bend. Keep that core engaged. Inhale up. Exhale, side bend, reverse. Inhale and lift. Exhale and side bend. Inhale up tall. Exhale, reverse. Inhale up tall. Exhale and side bend. Hold it there. Pulse that leg up and down. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come up nice and tall. Side bend toward that straight leg one final time. We're going to come back up. Drop back into that tall kneel position, and let's roll those blades back and down. Here's 3. Here's 2. And here's 1. Let's make our way down onto the mat. We're going to rest on the side. Feet are lined up with the bottom, knees are forward. Let's lift our waistline up. Feel those muscles. If you press into the waistline, you should feel some tension in those oblique muscles. Draw that belly back toward the spine. And we're going to press our top end into the floor, lifting the knees up and down. There's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Knees come down. Top knee presses for clamshells. Here's 3. Here's 2. Here's 1, knees down. Lift those feet up and down. There's 4, 3, 2. Hold them up there. Press that top knee up. 3, 2, 1. Hold them up there. Press both legs straight as we can, and then bend them up. Press and bend. Press and bend. One more time. Press the toes together. Top knee comes down. Bring those feet down, keeping the waistline lifted. Top knee comes up and down for higher hydrants. 3, 2, and 1. Back to hip height. Extend that bottom leg out. Fire hydrants again. Bottom leg stays straight. 3, 2, 1. Feel the side of the hip. Back to hip height with that knee. Toes touch that bottom leg. Top knee comes down and up. Here's 3. Here's 2. Here's 1. Stretch that top leg out in line with the bottom leg. We'll swing it forward. Swing it back. Forward and back. Last 2. Last 1. Stretch it back. Toes come down. Lift them up. Toes down and lift. Last 2. Last 1. Lift them up and hold. Bottom leg comes up and down for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring those toes down. Bend that knee up. Pat out your hips. Stretch that top arm forward. We're going to inhale the arm to the ceiling. As we exhale, look toward that top hand as we reach back toward that wall behind us. Inhale, arm up. Exhale it forward. Nice work. Let's press ourselves up and over to the other side. We're in the home stretch. After we do this side, we're going to make our way up to standing, and we'll finish with a little bit of balance work. But let's rest on that bottom arm. Knees forward, feet lined up with that tush. Press your top hand into the floor and lift that waistline up. Bring those knees up and down. 3, 2, and 1. Knees come down. Press that top knee alone. 3, 2, and 1. Bring the knees down. Feet come up and down. 3. Keep that waistline lifted. 2. Hold them up there. Press that top knee. Here's 3. Here's 2. Here's 1. Hold that knee up there. Press your top hand into the mat. Straighten and bend those knees as best you can. 3, 2. Try to keep that pelvis facing the screen. Last one. Toes touch. Bring that top knee down. Keep the waistline lifted as the feet come down. Fire hydrant lifts top leg. 3, 2, and 1. Back to hip height. Hold it there. Straighten that bottom leg out. Fire hydrants again. 3. Press that bottom leg into the floor. And 1. Back to hip height. Keep the knee where it is. Touch those top toes to the bottom leg. Knee comes down and up. There's 4. 3. Press for 2. Press for 1. Knee stays lifted. We're going to straighten that top leg out. Swing it forward. Pull it back. Swing it forward. And back. Last 2. Last 1. Stretch that leg back. Touch the toes down. Lift them up. Touch them down. And lift. Last 2. Last 1. Lift and hold. Bottom leg comes up and down. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take them down. Bend those knees up. Give that hip a pat, and we'll stretch our top arm forward. Let's inhale that arm to the ceiling. Follow that hand with your head as you exhale, reaching that top hand back to the floor. Inhale, arm to the ceiling. Exhale, forward. Excellent job. Let's turn to our backs. We're going to lie down. Hands are by the sides. Heels are lined up with those sit bones. Let's rock those knees side to side. You can bring your legs together if that's easier. It's okay to let those hips roll up as the knees come off to one side. Let's come right back up to the center. We're going to cross one ankle over to the other knee. Lift a figure 4 stretch. Hold for a breath. Exhale. Switch up those legs. Cross the ankle over. Lift to figure 4. You can use your hands or leave them down by your sides. Inhale. Breathing out. Bring that foot down. Unwind. We're going to turn ourselves over to hands and knees. Before we stand, let's curl through a few cats. Reverse into cows. Take it back to the center. Keep that core engaged as we press our toes into the floor. Bring the bottom back to the heels and press through the hands. We're going to shift our weight toward flat feet. Once we're over our front of our ankles, we can make our way up to standing. All right, let's come to the center of our mat. As always with balancing, if you do need something to hold on to, find a wall, find a sofa back, a chair, anything that's going to keep you stable, give you a little bit more input to know where you are. We're going to line up our feet hip width apart. I got a real nice hole in my sock there. Happy New Year, guys. Hold it there. Let's keep our feet hip width apart. Let's center our weight over those ankles. And just like we did at the beginning, we're going to take our hands to our waistline and shift the weight toward the toes and toward the heels. Good. Come on back to the middle. Soften up those knees a bit. Shift the weight to one side. Find your balance support if you need it. And we're going to stand heel to toe with the hands right on the waist again, right on the front of the midsection. Again, push the weight to the front foot. Push the weight to the back foot. Shift forward and back. Appreciate that that narrow base of support makes your work a little bit harder. Kind of all the way up. It's not really centered in one particular area necessarily. Let's come back to our heel toe stance. Can we challenge it by looking side to side? I'm not sure I can right now. Let's work through this a couple times. Look over one shoulder, look over the other. Take it forward. All right, let's go ahead and shift to the other side. Hands are at the midsection. First, we'll take our weight toward the front foot and the back foot. Press the weight toward that front foot, press the weight toward the back foot. Let's come right back to the middle. We'll look side to side. One more time each. Do you find that you rely on your front foot or your back foot more for this? There's not really a right answer. Shift to that back leg. We're going to take our hands to our hips or to that stable thing to support us, and we'll balance in single leg stance. Hold for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Switch it up. Shift the weight to the other side. Rise up into that single leg balance. And again, we're going to hold. Hold for 4, for 3, for 2, and 1. Let's take those feet down. They're shoulder width apart with the toes pointed out to the sides. We're going to settle back toward our heels, soften up those knees, and roll those shoulders back for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Let's bring our feet together. Inhale, arms up to the ceiling, palms pressing together as the fingertips reach up. Exhale them into center. Well, the first class of 2022 is in the books. Thank you for joining. I'm happy to be back and looking forward to next time.